So how are we going to run this today, Bruce?
Yeah, I was just saying it's 4 o'clock. I think Carrie's going to be facilitating this.
Yeah.
I know we have a few folks who have joined us who we all recognize. I don't know that they are here to represent the voice of younger folks, current or recent high school students in New Hampshire. But I'm going to turn it over to Carrie since she knows most about the outreach that we've done. She might even describe that a little bit for everybody who's on now to understand, and then we'll see if folks join. Personally, and Dave, this is up to you, but if we don't have any younger voices join this call, we can certainly, this is still a public comment period, and those people, attendees that are there are welcome to have their say today if they'd like to, but we'll give priority, of course, to younger folks.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds good.
So Dave, I don't know if you want to do the official.
No, Carrie, why don't you just drive us right through it? I think
okay.
It's fine.
All right. And we need to do a roll call.
It's nice to sit in the back seat sometimes.
Okay. I was always a backseater growing up. Do I need to do a roll call or?
Yeah. Why don't we start with that? I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so this is public commenting period for the Commission to Stay School Funding. It's September 23rd, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And we're gathered to hear, specifically the plan was to hear from youth voices about school funding and how they're thinking about it. And so before we begin, we'll just take a roll call of everyone's here, starting with members of the commission and then moving on to the CARC team. So Dave, why don't you get started?
Dave Luneau here in Hopkinton, New Hampshire with Ozzy, the long-haired dachshund in-house.
Mel Myler from Port Clyde, Maine, by myself.
Val Zanchuk by myself in my office in Jaffrey.
Corinne Cascadden by myself in Berlin, New Hampshire.
Barbara Tremblay and Keene, my husband's in the other room.
Okay. Hello, Bruce or Jordan.
Bruce Mallory from CARC School, sitting in Kittery Point, Maine at home. Family's downstairs.
Burton Hensley here in Dover. My fiance's in the other room.
And Carrie Portrie, I'm in Dover and I'm home alone as well. So we're opening up the public commenting period. I don't see any unfamiliar to the commission names in the attendee box right now. But so while we're waiting just for a few minutes before we open it up to who is here, I will talk a little bit about what we have planned for youth public engagement moving forward this fall. It is a challenging time in terms of there are many things that youth are concerned about and engaging with. They're navigating the pandemic and online learning or hybrid learning. And so we have four dates planned for Youth Voice. The first was today in terms of a youth-focused public commenting session. The second Youth Voice public commenting session is October 7th from 4 to 7 again, or 4 to 5 again. And then there are two Youth Voice focus groups on October 13th and 14th. And those are for youth that are 14 to 21 years old. So current high school age youth, and then also youth that are in college right now who have attended a public school. And so I have reached out to a variety of people. Susan Heward is going to be reaching out to the university and community college networks. I'm speaking in a class next week with some students who attended public school who are very interested in potentially doing projects about school funding and maybe participating in some way. So we'll see if there's some participation there. And then I'm reaching out to different youth organizing groups around New Hampshire that work with youth, some young Republican groups, and a variety of other, and that's just off the top of my head. So we have a pretty substantial list of young people groups. And then also we emailed all of the principals of public high schools in the state, as well as the charter schools. And so that's the outreach we've done so far. I think any other suggestions would be more than welcome. I think it's important that we have some youth voice, but also realizing that it is a challenging time. So any sort of advice about that is helpful. I've been working with Reaching Higher to put together a student voice discussion guide. And there's a video that'll be helpful for students. One of the parts of advertising is saying students don't need to come in knowing about school funding. They know about their experience in school. And then we'll kind of talk to them a little bit about it in a very brief way, and then they can respond with their thinking. So the students the youth don't need to come in as experts or feeling like they have to do a bunch of research before they participate. They should just come and share their experience as public school students, past and present. So that's kind of an overview of where I'm still seeing very familiar people in the attendee box. So I guess the commission members here, if you have any questions, we'll be discussing this at the public engagement work group meeting on Tuesday, along with questions on the format for the other focus groups as well. So yeah, Dave.
So Carrie, you're doing a great job. You should do the driving more often. I just want to get that out there. But I guess the question I had though is, I mean, this is sort of similar to what we also see as from attendees during our other Zoom calls, and I think it's also what we were familiar with back when we were meeting in person in the LOB. It was people familiar with the LOB. Occasionally there'd be some other people, but it's still, they may not be frequent participants at the LOB, but I'd seen them before in some other things. So there was at least some familiarity. So I guess the question, how easy is it for people to join these calls?
I think because it's a Zoom format and there's many students doing schoolwork on Zoom, they're used to gathering in study groups, or they're accessing other services via Zoom. I do think it is fairly accessible. It just is a matter of making sure that there's enough outreach about it. And I think we can I can adjust the messaging a little bit next time I do some reminders about, what it may feel. I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for students. I don't know what they're experiencing right now. But it could be that they have other things they need to be doing, like homework.
Sure.
I think one strategy that I've been in meetings where it's been talked about, and I recently spoke with the department chair of the education department chair at UNH today about, she's like embedding it into a class. And so that's a strategy, is to kind of we have kind of a short time frame here, but that can be a challenge and a benefit. But sometimes embedding it into the schoolwork is like an extra credit or like part of a social studies class. Those are ways to have students, I think, participate.
Right. How have you framed, Carrie, the messaging? What have you said in your message to get people to come forward to speak with us?
I've been pretty brief about it so far.
Okay.
I kind of have given a brief explanation that it's a commission for school funding. Depending on who I'm contacting, sometimes I send the one-page overview. And then I really I put our communications person at Carsey is sending it out through our constant contact for New Hampshire Listens. So it's with the title of Youth Voice Opportunities, Youth Voices Matter. And I've been in, one-on-one emails and contact with people who work with youth who do speak out on public issues frequently.
Good.
And so that's the kind of messaging I've used so far.
Okay. And
Uh,
to the principals, when you notified all the principals, how did you do that?
I think I need to do, it was still in that basic email, but I think we need to send out some more, I need to do a little more strategy around that, I think.
Okay,
Because I
yeah,
think it definitely could have been a lost in the shuffle.
yeah, exactly. This has been, the coming into school those are the hybrid model or totally remote, whatever. Yeah, a tough time right now. So if I can help with that, holler, I'd be glad to.
Okay, great. Maybe I'll send something by you, Barbara, and you can
Sure.
give me your thoughts on that. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Any other questions? This is helpful. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just an observation, a personal observation. You know, with all of the demands on everybody's time, and it's not just our group, but you know, everybody on, you know, there's remote meetings. It seems like they're so easy to schedule that there's no way you can attend all of them that you could possibly get scheduled for and invited to, you know, every day. And it seems like we all get invited to more remote meetings now than we used to get invited to in-person meetings
Right.
back prior to the pandemic. So what I've noticed is that if it's actually not populated in my, I use Google Calendar, if I don't have the link embedded in there, and if I have to try to dig it out of email, I'm unlikely to find it in time, and I'm more likely to move on to something else. And I feel like I've got like Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours of Zoom experience now, but I haven't spent 10,000 hours setting up Zoom meetings, so I don't know what sort of you know, tech might be offered in the app that makes it easy for. I know they can be populated easily, but I don't know if there's something, if it goes to an email that I can click to have it put in my calendar or something like that. I think there probably is.
It does. And I would say Corinne and I are also going to talk on Monday a little bit more about North Country outreach as well. The way the registration links work, to my knowledge, is so they can click on the registration link, they register, and then you receive an email back. And I think in that email, it offers you a calendar link as well. And so it can go right into your calendar, or it'll go right into your email with a link, is my understanding. So we'll
Carrie,
see.
did you have any luck with youth and government?
I emailed them, but that's probably another good follow-up email that I can do next week as well.
And then I thought about the first year students who might be at the law school in Concord.
Okay, that's a good idea.
That's a very good idea, Corinne. Yeah, just was thinking the same thing. But yeah.
You know, it's a hot topic, and
Yep, you got it.
it should have an interest in law.
Yes.
In this class that I've been in contact with, they're studying policy, schools, poverty.
Perfect. Perfect.
And so
what's the age group that we're aiming at?
right now we're aiming at 14 to 21. So these are high school students. And then, I mean, if someone's a little bit outside, it's okay. But the idea would be high school age students and then people who have left. So either they're in college, community college, the workforce, maybe they dropped out. So kind of that to 21 age, I think is okay. It's like 1 to 2 or 3 years out is fine.
And do you want us to be active in the recruitment process?
I mean, if you feel comfortable, yes. Yeah, please adapt what I've sent and ask. I think that's okay. I mean, we're not asking them questions that guide them to a certain policy decision or a certain funding idea. We're just looking to hear what they're thinking about, so I'm already pulling together a thematic document across activities and public commenting sessions to share with the public engagement group next week. That'll allow us to see, and then questions we'll ask. So I think there are consistent themes that then as a commission you can be looking at, okay, so the AIR report suggests these are the suggestions here, here's what we're hearing from the public across activities, and then here, so I'm hoping that can build out on that. So I think in terms of your positions and your comfort level, yes, please help reach out to groups. And if you need specific language or links, please let me know. I am always online.
Yeah. So and if there's a document that articulates to a student what we're asking, just like you introduced at the outset here, that you don't have to be an expert on school finance. You just have to have experienced and be, and we want you to share your experience with in the schools in New Hampshire. I know I can circulate that to a couple of teachers and a few students that I'm working with, and yeah, I'm glad to help target to a specific date and time. And
yeah, I mean, mainly, we have our next public commenting session on October 7th, but really like making sure we have a nice group, on October 13th and 14th to have a discussion would be really, really great. So I sent out an overview of all the focus groups and the links to all of you last Sunday, I think.
that's what I need. Okay.
I sent that last Sunday. I can resend it, but I'll also let me look at the language a little bit more, and I'll send a specific student one to y'all again.
Great.
Carrie, when do we know when the Reaching Higher video is going to be done? Do we have a date for that?
Well, Reaching Higher is listening in right now. So I will not speak for them. If they'd like to speak, they can raise their hand, and Jordan are.
Why don't we see if we can bring someone in?
I'm not going to answer for Reaching Higher.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I just want to let Barbara know that I've reached out and communicated with the North Country Superintendent's Group.
Okay, good.
And asked them to really push it within their high schools.
Excellent. Wonderful.
So, yeah, so it's a good communication line.
Very good. Excellent.
Barbara, can you get to the Southwest?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'll do the same thing.
I mean, we can communicate with Carlat as well.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I did send out all of the responses.
Yeah.
Not the response, that's the wrong word.
You already sent out to.
I sent out what I sent to you all on Sunday. I sent out to the educated leader group as well. So
will you resend that, Carrie?
Yeah, I will.
I think I have it, but I want to be sure.
Yeah, and I'm not shy about edits, so please just let me know.
So we see Liz has joined the group. So Liz, do you have any more information on when the video is going to be done?
Sure. Our anticipated release date is going to be in early October, early to mid-October. I guess I should just be more open so I don't miss any deadlines that I promise. But in advance of those sessions, we're planning to have that completed. We worked with as I shared with you before, we have an outside media firm that's doing the animations and the development of it. So we have a draft video. I've shared that with Carrie. And so in the event that the final version is not done, that video is available. So we definitely have a version available. It's just, a much more professional looking product is coming mid-October, early mid-October.
And Liz, why don't you outline a little bit about the approach to the video, because I think for the folks who are listening here, it would be important to say, well, how are students going to really understand the whole issue of
Yeah.
school funding, et cetera? Because I think the video does provide, at least from the copy standpoint that I've seen, does talk about a way with which kids can, or young people can begin to understand
Sure.
the issue of school funding.
Sure. And I really appreciated Carrie saying up front that I imagine that logging onto this Zoom to talk with all of you is probably pretty intimidating. So I know that this is going to be recorded for other folks to watch later, and maybe we can send it out with this sort of description. But the video that we're developing is from the perspective of a high school student to understand what it would mean if you grow up in a high school where you have lots of opportunities and AP courses and extracurriculars and all this high-tech technology in your classroom. And what if you had to move to another community that's not so far away, but has a very different experience? And so what does that mean for that student, for students in different areas of our state? And how do we get to that point? And so it's meant to be very sort of brief overview, 5 minutes to understand how a high school student would be connected to this topic in the first place. Because I don't know that high school students, and I don't mean to offend any of you, but I don't think high school students are engaging and watching all of your commission meetings. I think that's just not necessarily realistic. And so we want to make it in a way that they would see how they are a part of this topic in the first place. And so that's what we're hoping to do with the video. And so it's the story of a student named Jacob who is starting in one place, moves to another, and what that experience looks like for him. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And teachers or educators out there who are watching this, reach out to Carrie, I would say, to ask for more, more help or support, or, how students can engage. We have some content on our website about students can write in. If you don't feel comfortable sharing on Zoom, you can write something in. And as Carrie said earlier, I think to that point, experiences matter a lot, and we share that at Reaching Higher, that student experiences go a long way in telling these stories.
As we've talked, as both Carrie and I have talked about this too, we said this video, even though it's directed at young people, it may be so basic that anybody could learn from this and understand the dynamic of what some schools have and what some schools don't, and the inequity of that experience for those students.
That was definitely the intent. So my former high school English teaching years, the whole premise is I want to be able to explain it that my high school students would understand it. Because that means that truly it would be engaging for them, which is great, but also it's meant for anybody who wants to better understand what's happening in school funding in New Hampshire. So yes to all of that for the high school students, college students, and anybody else who might be interested in getting started in school funding.
Yeah, I think the kids up in Berlin have a pretty good sense of this. I think they've been quite active.
I call a few.
Yeah.
Let me just thank Liz and Reaching Higher for the work they've been doing. All of their e-newsletters and communications have been tracking the work of the commission and connecting folks to our work and urging people to pay attention to it. So in general, Reaching Higher has been a great outreach and communications partner on this, and it's really appreciated. I think their next task, though, will be to create an engaging animated version of what a regression analysis is.
I'll put that on my to-do list, Bruce. I've got it.
Yes, sampling figures that illustrate what a correlation is and is not.
Yes, thank you, Liz. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
So that is where we are. Is there anything else? I mean, we're a half hour in. We can open it up to comments from the people that are here.
Sure.
And if there aren't any, I think it's okay if we close this meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I just put on chat some links to New Hampshire Learning Initiative. They have a section in their website on student voices, and they have a number of interviews with students there talking about their learning experience. So that may be something useful to look into. And also I gave you the link to Ellen Hume Howard's email. She may be able to help recruit students because they've already done that for this student voice project that they have. And there are a number of kids there that have been interviewed, and they have a lot of outreach in that regard as well. And their focus is a lot on the implementation of competency-based learning, and they drive the PACE assessment program for the state. So they're very much involved with students and doing a lot of work at the district level throughout the state. So they may be a resource. And Learning Initiative and Reaching Higher were sort of founded at the same time by the same group of people. So where Reaching Higher is very much an advocacy focus. New Hampshire Learning Initiative is very much on the ground in the school district, working with districts to move innovative methods along. And so there's a good amount of information available on what's happening in various districts there.
Okay, great. I'll put them on the list. Thank you. Thanks everybody for the conversation. It wasn't exactly what I thought, but it was very useful. So thank you. So I don't, Jordan, do you see any hands?
No, I don't see any other hands. Let me check the email box one more time here. Yeah, I think
Okay.
no other folks at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, great.
So let me.
Yes.
Thanks, Carrie.
Our leader.
So I think I found a link yesterday over at the Supreme Court website for tomorrow's thing. Did I send that to you, Bruce? And
No.
I forgot, did we get it out to all the commission members?
I did not forward that to everybody yet. I think a few folks have it.
Okay, let's get that out. I mean, I know, I've seen emails from School Funding Fairness Projects doing a watch party and stuff like that with links, but I wanted to make sure that at least all of our group has the direct, I think it's a live stream link from the Supreme Court starting at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Reaching Higher sent that out today also.
Oh, did they? All right,
Yeah.
great.
So it's just another source, but yeah, it would be helpful
Yeah.
to get direct.
Yeah.
I'll send that out.
Yeah, and for I guess I don't know, so I'm asking this, is you can watch it live or you could watch it later.
Yeah, I think I looked on the website and there's an archive as well as if you're just on the live stream so you can watch
Okay,
as it's going. So you don't have to necessarily be around when it's on.
right, okay.
I'm not sure what the timing of the recording to live is, but.
Good, good. Well, if nobody else has anything to, if any of our attendees, and there's still a few that have sort of hung on while we've talked about a few things, and I appreciate all their attention to what we're doing and participation in it. But if anybody wants to raise their hands and come in and let us know what's on their mind, I'm sure that would be fine. Or everybody's really busy gearing up for tomorrow's big day up on in the Supreme Court. So
Good.
so it
We're
seems
good.
like that's what it is.
Yep. Have a good
evening, guys. Thanks.
All right, everybody be
Bye-bye.
well. All right,
Bye.
take care. Bye-bye.